Recorded. Zachary, ankle toward dad, not like you're facing away from Michael. Okay. Wait. Oh shoot!
What? From the movie review.
Action!
Okay, this is the
First,
in the car.
no, they're not gonna get that joke because we haven't done.
Okay.
Okay, so the idea we were going to do.
No, let's just call it Home from the Movie Review. So if we forget, we do it here.
Okay.
If we don't, do it in the car.
All right.
Hi.
The movie we are reviewing is
Hi.
Pet Sematary.
Spoiler review.
2019.
Spoiler review.
Well, I wanted to do like a little bit of.
No, let's not. It's not worth it. We're not that. The movie will have been out for months before we
bother to edit this.
This is the new one. This being 2019.
This
2019.
in the year of our Lord 2019.
Okay, guys, you're getting no views. Start over. Start over. That was you can edit it. Start
that was
over.
Great.
It's 2019.
Is our framing good? Just check our framing.
Home from the movie.
Hello.
Home from the movie is 2019. Pet Sematary spoiler review.
Take
Spoiler
4.
review.
All right.
Yeah, it was fine.
Okay.
The end. Roll credits.
It was good. The movie deals with the tragic loss of a family member or cat.
Yeah, well,
The cat. Well, we'll go with the cat first because I like talking about the cat because the cat, named Church,
Winston Churchill.
Winston Churchill, dies, and the neighbor who is so
Judd Crandall,
Judd,
played by
John
the alien
Lithgow,
from Third Rock.
who liked the little girls whose cat it was so much, couldn't bury the dad. Of course, couldn't just tell the daughter that the cat was dead. So they're gonna bury it and say he got away. The classic old.
Well, there's like a lot of, thinking Pet Sematary in general and the old one as well. There's just a lot of, like logic errors. Like the first thing the first thing the mom sees is those creepy kids, and he's like, she doesn't seem to care too much.
Yeah, what's it? Well, that's the thing is, it is about how grief makes you have bad choices. In the first one, they everyone kind of is like, oh, well, that was a terrible choice. And in this one, there is one line about how the pet cemetery gets in your head and makes you think this time it will be okay, and they kind of threw in a few lines to justify Judd doing that, like, oh, my dog was kind of a jerk beforehand, so I thought nice cat would come out a little nice. Still a little bit of a jerk, but that's just a cat.
They made it sure to it nicer in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
He starts out. You don't see him that long before he dies, but he's a great little cat.
He starts out as a good cat and turns into a regular cat.
Yeah, he turns into a regular cat. He's doing all kinds of cat things after he goes to the pet cemetery.
Yeah,
he's like biting and snatching at people, and he's like cock blocking the mom and dad. He's being real nasty. So basically a regular cat. But
one of the things they changed is now he dies on Halloween instead of Thanksgiving.
Until he lures the girl into the street to get run over by a truck.
Which is
pretty much a normal cat.
Now, I know we called spoilers, and I hope that they're flashing on the bottom of the screen, spoilers. I hope no one... well, I know people did, but that second trailer that spoiled everything, the movie sets up, because it knows, it's like, oh, hey, Gage is going to die, we're going to show Church sitting on his chest, we're going to have Ellie in bed go, well, Gage died too, and we're going to have him run into the street, and it's gonna be the big twist of the movie. The thing that keeps it fresh is that the secret is Ellie's gonna die this time. And then the trailer said
the twist between Zachary's a nerd for the book and the previous movie, but just taking it as a movie on its own, and from what you saw in the trailer, okay, yeah, a little twist that his Achilles gets gets cut. On the stairs as opposed to next to the bed. I mean,
no. The thing is, they show all those shots. Like you saw the first movie, he's by the bed. Yeah. It would show his ankle. It's gonna get cut. It's gonna get cut, and then they
a little just twist. The girl gets killed instead of the boy. So I think it would have been better if had it been the boy.
Sort of like an HD remake.
Yeah, it was done better, shot better.
Yeah, the primary thing is
they do change a lot of random details.
Yeah, it was a better filmed movie, but there are a whole bunch of random changes now.
Aesthetics are pretty.
I love going to the Pet Sematary, especially when they're at night.
Yeah,
I mean,
the Pet
like
Sematary itself looks really
classic
cool.
horror movie. You know, you had the kind of the fog. You know, that's wasted.
Yeah, the original movie, it's kind of this big flat dirt plain. And then you see the designs of all the graves, and was one thing you didn't get to see the overhead layout of where all the graves were. In the first one, you saw the big symbols on the ground.
Yeah.
But this one, the lead up and the dark night, and the one point they walk through the water and you see there's bones under the lake. That was one of, I think, the best improvements.
That was the best part of the movie to me.
Is the actual Pet Sematary is improved.
The dream sequences were pretty good.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
awkward songs.
We can cut out whatever we want.
Acting was good. All the acting, child actors, up to John Lithgow, which is always good.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. The settings were good. The sets were good. Like we already talked about the Pet Sematary itself and the woods. As far as the story itself, I mean, this is a typical story. They put some little twist on it.
Yeah, well, it did. The parts that were the same, you knew what they were, and the parts that they changed, I can't really say they were for the better, except for the technical elements. Like.
Okay.
He was a good dog. He's a bad boy.
Now he's trying to
He's a bad boy.
Your face by putting his entire body into it.
John he's a bit of a tension hog, so.
Judd is sort of like
he doesn't hit the camera there.
Judd is sort of better at times.
Jump in front of the camera, buddy.
And worse at other times.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good. He's a good actor, but they did things like, oh, we're doing the serious movie. Let's take away the super thick accent. He doesn't say sometimes dead is butter anymore. It's sometimes dead is better. It's not butter, and I kind of miss the butter.
I also like those.
Oh, buddy.
There's a lot of good confusing camera moments where it sort of sway back and forth with the character.
Yeah. Yeah. There were some scenes, technically better, but it's I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say this one's a little bit better than the other one.
I think better. One thing we talked about is the twist. They changed the child. I mean, a lot of the story is about the grief, and so in a fast movie, you didn't really get the time to say, oh,
that's one thing
this
that
dad is
neither
dealing
of
with all this grief. Now, the one thing they did, because they went with the older child, with the 9-year-old versus the little kid, is that, I don't think we are automatically empathetic. Oh, now we got the other dog.
Yeah.
Automatically sympathetic as we were about,
one thing that both adaptations, you don't really get the empathy that you're supposed to get, because it's a movie and you don't get to spend as much time with the characters. In the original one, you can easily feel much more empathetic because it's like one of the youngest kids that's ever died in a story, But yeah, it's older, it's you got to really build the sense of grief. The guy who did Haunting of Hill House and Oculus, he's, I believe, going to do the adaptation of Dr. Sleep, another Stephen King book. But I couldn't help but think he could probably have done this movie better, if he had been on this, because in Hill House they were able to capture the sense of grief, and I'm like, if they had him as a director, it probably would have.
They did have a lot of grief in that.
But they have him for Dr. Sleep later, so.
Okay. Things I didn't like.
Yeah.
You get some stupid movie stuff, once again, Zachary, Cisco is joining.
He's got me. Oh. Hey, buddy, you got my treat.
Just be glad that this isn't smell of his, because he's been farting really bad.
He smelled bad ever since he came back.
Came back from the Pet Sematary. Louis is supposed to be a doctor. So he's a doctor, the kid comes in bleeding to death. don't ever send me to this hospital if I'm bleeding to death, because like a nurse comes in, oh my God, and runs off. He's trying to deal with his bleeding to death kid.
Yeah.
And then no one comes back in that room for like at least a minute. I'm like,
I need blood. We need to do
before
this.
somebody else comes in there.
And then he's dead, and he's alone in this room.
And action. Welcome back, Kitty
Okay,
Cat.
go back to, we had a technical error. Go back to where I was with the doctor. Anyway, don't ever send me to this hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's bleeding to death. The
like
nurse freaks out, moves out.
College.
I know, but
the
still,
intern nurses
don't send
freak
an
out.
emergency thing there.
The older nurse is doing who knows what, and the kid has time to die, give his whole ghost speech, and then a nurse comes, and they,
and didn't
a lot of
even
this
seem to have any blood. Another thing, this guy's a doctor. He doesn't check for a pulse, so obviously the guy's dead. But then later on, his daughter dies. His daughter gets hit. Blunt force. Probably would be dead, but her head wasn't chopped off or anything.
And they didn't really show much.
She comes and grabs the daughter. Oh, Ellie, my daughter. And I'm like, did you not check for a pulse?
You want to pick her up to make sure her spine's broken?
Yeah. No, you don't. That's not what you do. But and then later on, finally, when Judd gets killed, there's blood everywhere. His eyes are going, and then finally he checks. So what kind of doctor is this anyway?
It looked like, was this scalpel golden? She opens it out of a little box, like it was supposed to be an award or something. So he's good enough to get the golden scalpel.
Well, he was pretty obviously dead, but then.
But yeah,
when a friend's dead, now you finally check. But
yeah, so the first one, it was really the filmmakers want to keep things moving, and there are a few scenes where it's like. Snap two, go, go.
They fixed a lot of the problems with the older one.
And then they added.
This one only fixed a few of them.
Yeah. But yeah, they could have, if they wanted to do it right, have all the nurses working. You can show one or two of the younger ones go, but have the older nurse who's been there for forever help him out.
To be there.
And then after he's been
blood back in there pretty fast.
After he's been dead for a while, that would be the time when he could be alone with the patient. But you have to do it so quick. You have to keep things moving, and that's part of the thing. Where the parts that are more of a straight adaptation, it tries to keep it moving. It tries to keep going, but without being able to dwell and build character and meander a bit. It does lose, the friendly feel, the character, trying to feel for these guys.
Yeah.
Dog's going under my chair.
And that was really the problem I had as far as the characters getting to know the people.
Mm-hmm.
You just moved so fast. It's like you did get introduced to Ellie.
Yeah, Ellie.
Yeah, pretty early. She bonds with the next door neighbor, Judd.
In this version, Judd's friends with Ellie, and that is kind of one of the things is, in the original, Judd was friends with Lewis, and it was like, we can trust Judd, and the original was like, my good friend Judd, Herman Munster, right? And the other one, it's like, everyone's like, I'm a little suspicious of Judd. Judd's being a little weird, it's like, we can't have nice Judds.
See, now had they had like a Labrador, instead of a cat.
Oh man!
And then they would have. I'm so sad that my dog is dead. It's like
you would have known something.
You can find lots of mean cats.
Although it's still, I'd say overall pretty good.
It's fine.
A little bit better than the old one.
If you haven't seen the old one, and you'll be like, "Whoa, Pet Sematary." If you've seen the old one, you'll inevitably draw comparisons and. They'd be like, I don't know about this, or I don't know about that. From a technical standpoint, it's better than the old one. Yeah, but
If it helps start the Stephen King Red Letter.
The Stephen King cinematic multiverse.
Sure. Yeah, I think it could have been done better, because like Gerald's Game was one that they thought couldn't be done, and they actually, Netflix did a really good version
I think
of that
this was... This was the same company, the same studio that made the new It, right? I think it was.
I would think, because
Because they
look
passed the
similar.
dary sign.
Yeah.
Well,
But
the
this
They
letters-
changed from the Salem's Lot sign.
This is
titles
not
look similar.
Stephen King's best story. I mean, this is not.
Well, not
it's
his best adaptation.
Yeah, it's not. Well, it's not his best story either.
Well, I mean, obviously,
how far
the
can you
best
go? I
one
think
is
it could have been better
but-
done and been
I don't
better.
know. I think like the thing with the whole story is that it's a good concept for people to remember it.
It
But
works
it's just
better.
hard to show.
It works better on paper when you can get in the characters'
Well, even
heads
in
and
the
sense their grief.
film, it's still
but-
it's a concept you'll remember.
Yeah, the
So,
empathy
that-
is really lost in the movies. You know,
Yeah,
it's,
you didn't.
you can't get in
You
their
didn't
heads as
feel
much.
the grief that is
That-
central to the story.
Yeah,
About the daughter.
'Cause they're only
Definitely
there
not
for
the
an hour
freaking
and a
cat.
half. and
You know,
not.
then they all start dying real quick at the end.
Oh yeah, so we got the alternate ending.
Yeah.
The ending of the movie really felt like the alternate ending that you would find on the DVD and go, "Wow, I'm glad they didn't
Yeah.
choose that."
Yeah.
Everyone's
It's-
evil, but the old one was still kind of bad though.
What if
so,
we keep changing?
Yeah,
The old one had
I just
Yaris,
don't like these.
right?
It almost seems
The-
like it's gonna. They're just gonna chain kill the end of the world.
Yeah, the fact that dead people can bury
Like,
people
where they
in
just
Pet
gonna? Someone's
Sematary
just gonna
seems
find
weird.
this. Someone's just
Yeah, what
gonna
if-
find this dead family hanging around.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that was always the question. Is at the end of the first one, is what did dead Rachel do next? You know, it's like I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where I think there might be a little more interesting. It did add. It talked a little more about the winged dingo and this
Yeah.
other creature, and so it's like not so much that these people are coming back, but there's
Mhm.
like a spirit inhabiting their reanimated body type thing. So
Yeah.
I think that aspect, if they
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah, it was
a
good
little
to
more
actually
it.
hear about the
And
Wendigo.
it makes me want to watch the
Wendigo.
supernatural episode about Wendigo
Yeah.
just to kind of
Wendigo.
remember about it. But
Wendigo.
I think that would have been a more interesting
So
story.
I know
I reckon the
But Wendigo is funner to say. So
Dingo, I probably misspelled.
the Wendigo ate my baby.
Wendigo.
There was the brief reference to Cujo, so even though it's not been announced, I'm thinking, they're gonna remake everything as they do, so they'll probably remake Cujo next. If I had to
Yeah.
put my chips on something,
So Stephen King, Blumhouse, and all the slashers is gonna
Every-
want to make big multi-cinematic
Yeah.
universe.
Yeah.
it's,
What should be good? I mean, there's lots of Stephen Kings that
Then
have
they're gonna
never
have the old
been
classic
done
ones.
Mhm.
in the movies that probably would be good. The
Mhm.
right adaptation.
Yeah, gonna do the Running Man again.
Yeah. Was that Stephen King?
Is Richard Bachman,
Oh yeah.
who is Stephen King. One thing that I think should be mentioned is that I didn't suspect is the end credit song was still the same.
Yeah. Oh what?
Um,
I didn't realize that.
Well, it's the same song, but they got someone to cover it. So
It's kind of a bad choice either way. I was thinking that was a bit jarring.
yeah, that's the thing is, it's the Ramones and it's kind of
But,
we
we don't
a
want
punk song.
It's always
at the end of a grief
We don't
movie.
want to accept everybody. We don't want to upset everybody.
We're gonna, yeah, and it's a little more pop
We
punk in
gotta
this
do
one
the
too.
same thing. We gotta
even
do
though-
7.
I don't think most people stayed around long enough to really listen to it.
Not that it's
man.
not good.
Well, I was the credits started to go and they didn't have the lyrics at first, and the beat was going. I'm like, is this the Pet Sematary song? Did they bring it back? And they did. It
It's
wasn't the
almost
Ramones.
like I know, but it's like it sounds like feels like the MIB, like those raps they used to do,
Yeah.
like the whole song.
When the credits are
Yeah,
coming, I've seen
without
all these
it
French
being
names.
so with it being so serious, not having the levity about it, then that can be a little jarring to have a pop punk song at the end, but
The
still.
digital church is gonna start dancing.
Ah, that would have been so cool. As if the credits moved to the side and Digital Church just started. doing
We're gonna talk
robot.
about church. I
Yeah.
was gonna say that. See all these French names in the credit. This was done like around Montreal, Canada, French
Bon
Canada.
shot,
So yeah.
por
that's-
favor.
Yeah, but talk about church, and in the credits you did see many different names for church, So apparently several different cats, and so you had the really sweet looking cat.
Yeah.
The kind of grumpy but at one point when the cat had first come back to life, it looked like the worst robotonic cat you've ever seen. I was like, this is horrible. Didn't you guys think?
Yeah, well, I thought he looked super messed up, but I thought it was supposed to be because he was dead. You know,
I know, but he just looked on. And okay, how about you bury something in this further on the Pet Cemetery? It's not actually the Pet Cemetery, but way past the Pet Cemetery. It's like, boy, you get your dead back to life faster than Amazon Prime. I mean, those things are like, you're probably not home. They're following you home. As soon as you go, oh, okay, boy, that would
actually be a cool shot.
I'm going to lie down. I barely go to bed. Here's your dead daughter walking back in the bedroom. I mean, this is pretty darn quick. And not like, next night maybe, maybe the morning,
So do we want to do a number rating?
Oh, a star rating?
Whatever.
Let's go to 1 to 10.
But
I would make this probably a 6.5.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 6.5 dead cats out of 10 is probably fair.
I didn't think it was that bad.
What do you think?
I was thinking like an 8 or so.
Oh, an 8. Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, well, it
I think
depends.
it's a solid movie.
I mean, it was good. I mean, it sounds like we were really
Well, I think
you down. It was good.
the mistakes and lack of emotion bug you.
No, I
think
the changes bug me, and Mike's immune to both those things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I usually always, other way, try to think of, 0's no movie, and 10 is perfect movie, or close as you can get, so.
I think my expectation as a Stephen King movie, it's like, Maximum Overdrive. That's like, that's horrible. Even though it could be a little bit fun.
But a kid gets killed by a soda machine.
Yeah, but,
with
you get like
AC/DC
Stephen, you get like The Shining or Misery or something like that, and it's like way up there. And this is, as far as your average horror movie, this is better than most horror movie by far.
Yeah, it's way better than
it's one of those things where...
Way better than just about anything on Netflix or...
It stopped. You're back, yeah.
Okay, well, I was going to say...
somewhere decent movie, 6.5 to 8.
Yeah, I guess it rounds out to about a 7.
Yeah.
But if you're a fan of, like, the original, like me... I have the one on Blu-ray and everything, then the changes do kind of bother you. And if you're overly logical like Dad, the logic will bother you. But if you can put both those things aside, you can be an 8 like Michael, but if not, you'll be a 6.5.
I just think there's I really like the creepiness, and it's a good concept.
I love the cinematography. I love the lighting was great.
The masks were probably a good idea.
Yeah,
although I think it might start to lower as time goes on.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the changes did bug me. It's like, a lot
of these movies is like, that was an 8, and it drifts to a 7.
Yeah. And there were also things that I should have referenced this earlier, so Mike, you're going to have to chop it and put it earlier so it looks like we're more straight in the head. But they did that thing that so many modern movies do where if we make it more cinematic, that makes it better. And it's like, oh, hey, the kid's going to get hit by a truck, but rather than just getting run over, the truck's going to swerve and the tank's going to fly off, and it looks... It's kind of so silly it brings you out of it.
I'm just glad it didn't explode.
Yeah, that would have been cool. And then, her sister, rather than just dying...
It looked like it was just about to...
The sister falls down the dumbwaiter because that's more cinematic, and it feels kind of Looney Tunes.
But the thing, that was one of the we alluded to earlier. The stupid things is like.
So yeah,
she is so tormented. This is the thing in her life. She's got this, sister that's got very bad, crippled, and she has to take care of him. It's traumatic. Traumatic.
It's traumatic.
It's traumatic. It really messes her up when her sister dies. And this is like, she keeps having these visions.
The kid dies.
She freaking has a flashback when she opens her medicine cabinet. So then after her daughter dies, what does she do? She goes back to the same house.
It was hard to
and
believe
she's
the
looking
parents
at
were
that
still
same dumb letter that
still
her
living
daughter,
in the same house
It's
their
like,
kid
why
died
in the world, when the worst thing happens to you again, let's go back to the previous worst thing.
The parents are still living there, and I assumed in the previous adaptation that they weren't, because she goes back there. I'm like, well, clearly they would have moved, right? But not only that, but the dumbwaiter's still there in the kitchen where you eat breakfast every morning. They couldn't, take the door off, put some drywall, and at least cover it up so you didn't have to
Or hey,
think
how about not go to
about
that room if that's where the room so bad for you? You're sitting there drinking. Oh, my poor daughter died. Oh, look, there's a dumbwaiter. Where my, that
it's where they
day and
pulled
night.
her out of.
Oh, I remember that place. Yeah, okay, that was stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So I'm thinking we don't edit any of this, and
Just
a
a
chaotic mess. Ooh, let's edit out all the coherent
You guys
parts
need an
and
ending
look
line.
insane.
Some kind of
Bye.
Until next